But when you watch back, it's picking up all this. Us going, okay. All right, we're recording. So, all right. Well, welcome to week 20. Yes, of Threads of Wisdom. And just to keep it, consistent, we are children of the crossroads. I am Lola, this is Silenus, and we've got our other two members, Lysander and Zeta.
Hello.
And let me explain Threads of Wisdom real quick. Threads of Wisdom was created by the Golden Thread Grove in Idaho. It is a teaching tool for your year and a day pagan basics. Each week that you attend, you will receive an image of the topic we discussed. Golden Thread Grove has requested that these images not be distributed to anyone that has not participated in a discussion or on a particular topic. At the end of the year, you will have 52 cards that can also be used as a divination tool. The Wiccadex. So this week we are going to talk about the Athame. Let me get down to the notes. And I will share the picture. Hi, Kiki. What did they do? Usually it says
to the windows.
Oh, I hate it when they do that. They always change things around.
They updated it, so I was just getting used to. Come on. Really? No, here. Damn it. I was just, that's not.
Are you seeing this?
Can you see that?
I can see the screen where it's our names and stuff.
Oh, but not the Athame picture. Well, that is just ridiculous how they're doing this. Hold on. Okay. Usually it'll say desktop.
Browse my computer.
Oh, I guess I can pull up the image.
Yep.
It's not going to let us. Look it. No.
It says custom files. Change the files.
Sorry, guys. They did an update, and now I'm like, I was just getting used to sharing the other way. Open?
Yep.
Really? Oh, it's loading. Okay, I was like, seriously?
There was a comment.
There was a.
Okay, go back to the share screen. Go to the screen. And click on.
Click the picture.
Yep.
There we go. Can you see that?
I can see it.
All right, awesome.
Yep, I can see.
Yay, Athame. Or as some people say, Athame. I've always known it as Athame, but
I've heard Athame, Athame, the solitaries that are solitary for a long, long, long time do actually say Athame.
My teacher
There's one
calls
more.
it Athame.
Athame, Athame. That's the other one.
Athame. Anyways, knife.
Wingardium Leviosa.
So go ahead, take a look at this picture, and just tell me what thoughts come to mind when you see this. And anyone can speak at any time, even my phone.
Stick them with the pointy end. Sorry, had to.
What movie is that from?
That's
Or
Thrones.
Oh, that's right.
I'm not sure.
I'm sorry,
Defense,
What's
like
were you saying?
I know I'm thinking like maybe defense or something like you treasure or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you say defense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I get a focal point. Focus your energy.
Yeah.
Cutting the vines that tie us, cutting through energy, cutting
Cutting
the cords. That's kind of what I think of. Not cutting.
Severing cords.
I love it.
Cutting ties. Anyone else?
There goes the one that didn't respond. So
He might be busy.
He says carving.
Carving out some magical time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's not a whole lot to interpret on this, but whatever first comes to your mind. Cutting was a big one. Cutting, carving, cutting cords, cutting ties, cutting out. We use it to cut out, to go into the out and in and out of the circle. So I'm going to stop sharing. I think we pretty much
got that one covered.
got that one covered. Okay. So when it comes to our Athames, what magical or what energy do you associate with an Athame? As in male or female?
Picking with the pointy
Is it
end.
Energy?
Stick with the pointy end.
Stick it in the cup.
Yep. So male, so we can all agree on that. I don't know if there's traditions out there that don't use that energy. There could be. I don't know every single tradition that's out there. There might be traditions that don't even assign a male or female energy to
Well,
it.
I'm kind of curious how like Dianics and the
All female
the all,
energy.
yeah, the all goddess worship. What they use their Athame for.
That's a good question. I actually know a few Dianics that I could ask that. That's a
Yeah,
very
most of them still have it as representation of the male and energy coming and like reproduction and such, but it's basically there just to be symbolic.
yeah.
Necessarily anything else to do with the energy. Some skip all of the great rite symbology altogether.
Mhm.
I know there are some traditions that like are very staunch that your Athame or Athame needs to be a specific handle color or must be metal, must be dual edge. Some are single edge. To me they need to be dual edged.
Yeah.
There are
I
also
like-
traditions that go no metal and they use wood, which to me is like that's just another wand, but that's me.
Yeah. Well, and the dual edge usually represents magic cuts
Cuts both ways.
both ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the concept of it being that it's never to be used for actual physical cuttings. That you have a different knife for that.
You have actually your bovine or your was that
Your
what it's called?
bovine.
Bovine. Isn't that a cow?
Bovine is a cow.
Some traditions might bring in a cow to chew away things. I don't know.
Well, in the tradition, the Athame is black handled and your bowline is white handled.
Yes.
And that's your working one.
Bovine. I really do know what I'm talking about. I just sometimes use the wrong words. Thank goddess my husband understands me. He'll still tease the hell out of me, but he understands me.
True on both counts.
True on both sides here. So what kind of so it's projective, it's male energy. Which element do we usually And this can go both ways again. Okay, so, but which element do we usually associate our athames with? Latera, do you know what element usually goes with the athame?
Um,
I don't mean to put you on the spot, honey. It's just me and you're basically the only one that you've got Children of the Crossroads. We all kind of know what we're gonna say because we work together. So I want to make sure the non-coven member gets to share some stuff or ask questions or whatnot. Don't feel you're on the spot because there are no wrong answers.
okay. I don't know. I would say either earth or fire. I don't know.
Yeah, and yes.
Yes and yes.
There could be
That's
choices.
just me just guessing, trying to put it with an element what I would think, but I wouldn't know for sure.
Well, so this is a good topic because there have been many schools of thought on the elements. I like that you picked up the fire because in the beginning of my practicing a very, very long time ago with my tarot cards 20 plus years ago, I used to associate the swords and knives with fire. Uh, a lot of traditions associate it with air.
With air now.
Now, it got switched somewhere along the way. There's things that say that maybe it originally was fire and they switched it, or I mean, it's
the forged in the flames, comes from the earth, needs water to hone it, and needs air to cool it. And so there's an aspect that they can be made for any of the directions or signs.
It's all elemental.
yeah. And you can assign pretty much all elements to our tools.
Yep.
But the most common one is air. Because you're cutting
Yeah.
in the air. But fire makes a lot of sense too because it's projective.
It's projective.
And well, air and fire are projective. So there's that projective of that, I think. But yes, you were right. Your answer, it's whatever you feel, but the more common is air. Lysander or Zeta, do you have anything to add to that?
My story is very similar to yours, Lola, because I started with the Athame in the South, for fire, and then came across another tradition that put it for air, and so I tried that out, and that's my preference.
Yep.
But I've done it both ways, and I think it works both ways. I don't have any issues with energy running funky or anything like that to me. So
Yeah.
I
go ahead.
think realistically most tools can be attributed to most elements. I think it can be a little wonky if you're like trying to count the chalice for fire, let's say, but I think it can still work, especially if it's made out of clay.
Exactly. Yeah. Because it does take all four elements to make a lot of our tools.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I'm most comfortable working with air, but there are times in my tarot readings where it just yells fire to me in a particular reading. And I don't shy away from that. I'm not like, but it's supposed to be air. It's like, no, if I'm getting fire from it, then I go along with that.
Yep.
Any questions? So, how does one use the Athame? What do we use it for? In most circles, most traditions, what part in the circle or in the ritual do we use it for? The cats are hissing at each other. Sorry.
Call the quarters.
Yep.
Yep.
Call the quarter, cakes and ale.
Yep. Yeah, as the cup is to the female, so is the blade to the male.
Sometimes we use it for casting circle.
Yeah. if we don't have a sword.
Yeah, we don't have the space to use a sword.
We don't. Yeah, we have limited space. We have a really big sword. So when we're
Making me blush.
It's
Yeah.
almost like you use the Athame or whatever to cut channels for the energy to flow through.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, when you're doing your quarter calls and you're cutting into the air, your pentacles, your pentagrams, I'm sorry. You're cutting in the air as using that as a channel. That's a really good way to look at it, actually. I've never really thought of it in that sense.
That's how I visualized it.
It almost lets you like cut the film between the two realms.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, especially too if you use it for like when you cast the circle, you're literally cutting out your sacred space.
Mhm.
Yep.
It's actually almost like inscribing, like you're engraving the channels on that space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, you're cutting, and that's why cutting air. That's why it is mostly related with the air elemental element. Sorry, elemental element, whatever. So yeah, casting, calling the circle, invoking, banishing pentagrams.
You also use it in circle when you're using it to call down energy and focus it into one point and allow you to draw in the energy.
Mm-hmm. You use it to direct energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have here what we talked about earlier in the picture, cutting cords, releasing what is not needed anymore. So that's really good work to do with an Athame, to do some sort of cord cutting ritual if you need to cut ties with something. And usually that would be not necessarily always cutting ties with a person, but something within yourself that you need to just, it's done. Get it out of my, get. I didn't even mean to do like a little song there. Get out.
I definitely have to get me an Athame. Like, I'm gonna look around for something that
So-
fits me.
Well, when you're doing it, yeah, go around and just pick them up and find one that you get a different energy feel from, because you'll know when you hit the right one.
Yeah, it feels good in your hands. I mean, people order online too.
Well, yeah.
It feels good in your hands. I heard you giggle, Lysander. We're dirty. Feels good in your hand. Latera, I kind of figured you would be interested in the cutting the ties. We won't
Yeah.
go in, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. And it's good. It's important to do that. And it's not, like I said, it's not even about cutting people out of your life, but maybe some hang-ups or feelings you have.
Feelings that that kind of makes me feel uncomfortable, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have grudges, if you have things from when you were a kid that you're still holding on to that, aren't worth holding on to any longer,
Mm-hmm.
just things like this that you can use it for a lot of different purposes.
And, a lot of times we talk about people's energy that affects us. And so people will say, well, I need to cut their energy out of my life. But that is still, you're not really, you have to take that responsibility on yourself and say, and know that is affecting you. Because only you, in general, only we, us, ourselves, let that energy affect us. So if it's affecting you for whatever reason, and it's hindering you from moving on or growing or evolving, it's good to cut those invisible ties. But you can use things to represent. There's actual cords you can use and cut with an Athame, or do the reenactment of cutting the cord. I know that one of our old coven members and another current coven members, so Morrigan and Willow, when they worked with ghost, I call it ghost busting, but when they would rid of ghosts, and I've seen them work, they also do a symbolic cutting of some with if somebody is attached to that entity that is haunting them or bothering them or whatever. They do this thing where one of them like kind of gets the energy and winds it up like almost like you can see a physical in your mind, some sort of thread or rope, and then the other one cuts. And it's very powerful. And the people that have they've done that to have felt that
release.
So it's very powerful. It's very powerful magic. Anything else to add to that kind of the cutting, the releasing?
No.
Oh, okay. Lysander and Zeta, you guys good? We'll move on.
Yeah, I'm good to move on.
All right. So since it's associated with air, there's Ariel. Hello. Hello. We're talking about the Athame, and we
Cool.
just got done talking about using Athame to cut cords that are holding us back, cutting energy that's holding us back, any kind of negative, anything negative, or releasing something that's not needed anymore.
Cool. Sorry to join late.
Stop it, puppies.
It's the kitty playing this thing.
We got a new kitty, so
I know, she's so cute.
Yeah. I gotta show her off. Sorry, you guys are gonna be so sick of her, but we're not. Here she is.
Aww.
Kitty. She's looking around. She's got dogs looking at her.
Right?
Ariel, do you have anything to add to that? Because we were just wrapped that up, but we've got time. We don't have a lot of people in this discussion, so we can talk longer. Do you have anything you want to add to the cutting and releasing? Have you ever done anything like that with your Athame or symbolically or?
I have not done anything like that with my Athame. This is the first time I've actually bothered to gather tools and put together an altar. Although I've always had an interest, I've never really practiced per se, just a lot of learning. So I'm getting ready to do the consecrate my tool in Ritual 101 and trying to decide. I'm doing my Athame, I think.
Oh, no.
Very cool.
Well, and the cool thing about it is I chose so we had kind of like a medieval theme for our wedding. We did a hand fasting.
Nice.
And we had a cool little sword that my mom bought for cutting our cake. That's what I chose to use for my Athame because it has a connection. And so.
Oh, cool.
Very cool.
So.
Hold on here. I'm trying to get Sammy into the call there.
Yeah, Sammy had to be invited to class too because he's on his phone, or they's on his phone.
Yeah.
However you say that.
Okay.
I have a hard time with pronouns.
Is that
I try.
Sammy?
Yep, there's a Sammy.
Hi, Sammy.
It's Sammy.
Sammy's in Washington now. Woo-hoo.
Woohoo! Washington.
Washington. Well, we were just talking about Athame, using it in releasing what doesn't serve us anymore, cutting cords, using that kind of magic. Have you used the Athame in that kind of magic before or ritual, Sammy?
For cutting things that don't serve me anymore?
Yeah.
I have not had to yet, but I may be soon.
That's kind of what we've been hearing.
That's fair.
Yeah. Well, it is good for that. That is something, because we really quick, we went over, we use it for casting and calling the circle. And we use it for the invoking and banishing pentagrams. Use it for directing energy, and then we got down to cutting cords, releasing what is not needed.
And we also talked about cakes and ale.
Yes, and the end of the Athame is more commonly a projective male energy. And the element that it's most commonly used kind of goes between fire and air. I've
Mhm.
seen it both. We work with it with air,
Air in our group.
but in tarot, I have used it for both. It just depends on what speaks to me in the reading at that time.
Mhm.
If I get a real fire sense from a sword in my tarot, I'm gonna go with that fire sense and not say, but it's supposed to be air, because I learned a tradition a very long time ago that it used to be associated with fire, and I know people that still use that. And then I switched when I found another tradition that used it with air. I relate more with the air, but there's still some fire in there for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, speaking of air, so let's review again. What are some of the characteristics of air that you would apply to your Athame?
Thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
The kindness of it, like that it splits and separates. Mhm. It's a very like pointed energy, like a very like, I guess like comparing it to a wand, for example, like the energy is a consistent flow. So, and that's like important of air, that of its association with air, because air is very much like a flow. It's very consistent.
It's it's stabbing, so it's very directed, it's very pointed, it's very like,
You get the idea when it's pointed at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
well, it's if you've gone through a dedication, you know that the Athame is used.
Yes. I was gonna say, did you feel me?
Yeah, no, but I was stopping at
Yeah.
that. But the message is received of what it's trying to portray.
Yeah. And elevations a lot too.
She got into. I think she tore into a bag.
Oh, gee, you need to go check on her.
Yeah.
We're having our older cat. Well, she's not that much old. She's only 2, but she's been acting a little poopy since we got the kitty. Okay, I had to show it off. Sorry. I'm gonna constantly show off my kitty. That's what she said.
Did you do it on the pagan network information thingy that you do?
What?
You know how you do the pagan information
Yeah.
network? Did you put the cat up too?
I should. Yeah, she just rests very nicely on my boobies.
Well, there you go.
So, yes, air characteristics, thoughts. What else? What else is with air?
Ideas.
Hmm?
Mhm.
Knowledge.
Hmm? Bless you.
Learning.
Yeah.
Which is kind of the same thing, but
Yeah, I mean, it's all. Yeah.
Some knowledge is like an inner knowing, and some knowledge is like a I learned it kind of knowledge.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of differentiate the two.
What?
Sometimes intuition too.
Yeah. Yeah.
That can go multiple places. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything to add to the characteristics of your Athame being with the element of air? How about writing messages? Writing.
Mm-hmm. Communication.
Communication, yeah.
Communication.
They're both in a way unseen. You don't see the bonds, but you see them being cut with this, where air you can't physically see, but you know it's there.
Mm-hmm. What kind of spell work can you do with your Athame?
Glyph work.
Carving into the candles.
Yep.
That's what I use mine for mostly. And picking them out so that I can get rid of the remnants.
Yeah. Yeah. As a functional tool, it comes in handy.
Yes, it does.
Any kind of like energy directing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Summoning and directing and banishing different energies that you're working with.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And to go with like a very, very basic, I mean, because the act of casting your circle is in and of itself an act of magic.
Oh yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not necessarily a spell, but that is definitely one of the main uses that I use it for.
Yep. Carving out that magical space in the separating us from, or creating that tween space, basically.
Right.
Separating us from the mundane, but in the middle of the mundane and the ethereal, the magical, because you need that space to be floating in there, and so it's good for that.
I see it as like when how you cut between the weave, and you allow the opening to be able to allow you to go over.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is, and I feel like this connects to how air as an element acts, but it has that polarity of both separation, as in separating the mundane and the beyond the mundane.
Yeah.
But also the polarity of connecting, because it brings those two things together in a tween space. So it's interesting that way. It's like if you think about it, if someone were to use like a knife to open a portal in like a sci-fi movie to like another dimension, you're simultaneously like cutting and separating these things, bringing them together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly, it's that liminal both, and one or the other or both. It's kind of, it's very Hecate.
Yeah.
And not so much necessarily an Athame, but like air to me is kind of transformational.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a very transformational feel. Like you can blow away the old and bring in the new. Like somebody was saying something about blowing out candles the other day, and I'd never ever thought about it. I've always blown out my candles, and they were like, "You shouldn't be doing that," and I was like, "You shouldn't? Why?"
Yeah.
Still do it.
So here's another one of those. No one should say shouldn't.
Right? Don't shit on people. It's bad.
Yes. No one should say you should or shouldn't. Whatever's comfortable for you. But I know that school of thought and that theory of you're not supposed to blow out your candles, you're supposed to snuff them. There were some real sticklers in my old coven about that. And then there's ones that are like, it's all good. So whatever's the most comfortable. We're not sticklers on things. We're more about if it feels right.
Intuitive, right? Because it should be intuitive.
Yeah.
I think for me, it depends on the circumstances too. Like if you're blowing out like the fire candle, like sure, yeah, you can blow that out with air for me. But like if it's a candle I'm doing a specific spell with, I want to keep that energy there, so I don't want to blow it away. But that's not, I wouldn't impose that on someone else.
Right. Like I never ever considered it until Deb mentioned it in class the other day, and I was like, "You can't blow out the candles? What?"
Yeah,
I know that.
I try to stay away from you should and you shouldn't in our magic. I'm not saying she's wrong, but you're not wrong either.
It's
well, when we blow out our birthday candles, right?
That relative truth,
and that's a wish.
the thing.
Yeah.
But it was hard when we were doing rituals at the UU, because one was we tried to keep the smoke to like a minimum. So we didn't often snuff them or blow them out. We were trying to pinch them out, and I don't like to do that at all. Like that is the most uncomfortable way for me to put out candles. I would rather snuff them or just blow it out and call it good.
Yeah.
Or I've done like where I've kind of like waved my hand in front of it. So I mean that's still air, right? But like thing to blow it out without blowing it out. But like the lick your fingers and pinch it out, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
I'm kind of a baby when it comes to burning myself, and even though it's a really quick, my problem is I'm unsure of myself, so I actually end up dragging it out longer.
Then you get burnt. Yep.
I get wax all over my fingers when I do the pinch method because that's what I've been doing ever since she said that, and I'm all like,
Yeah.
that's weird. Okay.
You know, there's this tool that you can get that like
Like a little,
push
like the
wick
Catholics use.
in it pushes the wick into wax.
Push the wick
Yeah, the
into the
snuffers.
wax and then pull it out real quick. You not even a snuffer, because a snuffer just cuts off the air. But you can take like a toothpick even and just pop the wick down into the wax
Yeah.
while
Done.
it's melting, and then bring it back up so you can light it again later if you want to. Also an option, but you kind of want something to pop it in.
And also, I've found sometimes when I'm doing some sort of candle magic or I'm lighting a candle, whether it's for a spell or for somebody or whatever, I won't blow it out. I just kind of have let it go out on its own because I kind of believe that. Now you got to be careful because I burned our wall.
Don't burn down the house.
She's tried multiple times.
My husband always gets so mad at me. Like, if I leave the curling iron on, he's like, "You're gonna burn down the house," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. It's the curling iron."
It is one of the hazards of being a witch. You have candle wax all over everything. I have burnt spots on the wall that I have covered with pictures and shelves.
And incense ashes are everywhere.
Yeah, if you have your altar on the wall, that's probably very, very scary sometimes.
Well, this was years ago. I had some wine and I was doing some candle magic, and I think you were in the shower or something, or
I was using the restroom.
you were using the restroom, and he comes out. I mean, he was in there, whatever long amount of time, I don't know. But I don't know what I did, but
You put a candle underneath of a little wood box.
it was in a little, yes, it was in an enclosed, oh God, I'm just dumb witch habits. And I was getting all magical about it, and it literally caught a small section of the wall on fire, and I'm like...
And she didn't notice it. I'm like, why is the wall on fire? She's like, it's not on fire. I'm like, no.
Oh, it's just part of the spell, babe. It's okay.
Oh, I meant to do that. Now, don't blow it out. Just kidding. Call the fire department. Let's include the good-looking firemen in our
right.
spell.
That's where my mind went. I'm like, hot firemen? Yeah.
Lola.
That was my spell. I summoned good-looking
You were
firemen.
summoning the hot firemen. There you go.
We had that.
It
We
worked.
had that happen at one point. I think someone had someone in the oven at the UU church. And I missed it. We got in there right after, but like Melissa and Robin were like, "Hey, you missed it. We summoned firefighters."
Ta-da! Just claim it, and I meant to do that.
Right.
That
That was
wanted
totally my intent.
We wanted to move into another house, didn't we? Okay. So yeah, safety first, people. That is the lesson here. Safety first.
I did want to add another thing, that, or like Athame thing, is that like air is associated with transformation, but also traveling. And maybe that's because I just traveled that I'm thinking of this. But air is very much associated with traveling, so it's a really good tool also for like manifesting travel, or like ensuring like the safe voyage of others.
Yeah,
things like
that's very true. Yes, it is, and that is an air quality. There's something on her.
Because witches can fly, right?
Right. But that is
Have
good.
any of you watched Motherland?
No, I haven't.
I started watching some of it. We haven't finished it up, but I've seen some of it.
So like the salva that they use to fly, that's
Yes.
just what comes to mind when I think of witches flying. I'm like, that's cool. I want that. Give me that. That's totally
I have
fine.
no idea what you guys are talking about, but that's okay. I'm sure I'll figure it out or watch it.
So supposedly back in the day, witches made a pact with the American government to protect us and be our military. That's the basic premise of the show.
Yep. The
Where-
basic.
Called Motherland. It's
really
amazing.
good.
I loved
It's
it.
What's it on?
I want to say it was Netflix.
I think
No,
so.
no, Hulu.
Hulu?
Sorry.
I'm like Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon Prime.
Well, we have all three of those.
We have
so-
all of those.
Well,
So
there you go. You should watch it. It's awesome.
that sounds amazing.
Oh, I'm so ready to. I'm going to get friends to watch this with me. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Awesome. So let's talk about we forget about travel. And I mean, if you think about air and the element of air and our Athames, you know, I think of Hermes, and he's the protects us traveling. He travels, he goes between the psychopomp. So there's that movement. And so with our Athame, it's movement, it's sending, it's receiving, there's so many different ways to look at the Athame rather than just the stereotypical ways that we use it. So my gosh, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to pass the cat to you. Our little Celeste. The kids named her. They love the name Celeste. I was like, all right, you can. We were going to name her Pyewacket after the cat on Bell Book and Candle.
Mm-hmm.
So her middle name is Pyewacket. She's Celeste Pyewacket Stardust.
There you go.
Stardust.
Stardust Day. That's right. Stardust Days. All right. So you are going to Madame Zola's to get your reading. You go to Madame Zola and you say, Madame Zola, I just need a 1-card draw for where I am right now. This card will represent me today. And Madame Zola goes, oh, yes. I don't know what that is. Anyway, I'm sober. I swear to God. And Madame Zola pulls this card.
Oh.
So what do you think that means for you today?
Can I be inappropriate?
Please say it, because we're
It means I need a
Well,
good dick down.
That is not inappropriate. It's very telling of where you are right now.
Right. Sorry.
No, don't say you're sorry, because you missed it. I kept saying total that's what she said moments, because I'm like, look how big it is, and it fits well, it feels good in your hand, and like it was me and Lysander were just giggling because we're dirty birds.
Well,
Point him with the pointy end.
Poke him with the pointy end. Yep.
I probably would have said that yesterday. Today. Today.
Well, it changed. No. Okay.
Today, I would say that it is telling me to cut off old loose ends.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Especially with your new
Get rid of old
and your
ties.
new environment.
Old ties that don't serve me, so that they don't corrupt my new roots settling in. I don't need any dead roots settling
Cut
in.
them out. Yeah. Very good. So we got deep dickin is needed. Let's do roots. I'm sorry. I just like to say deep dickin. Anyone else?
I would say balance and like explore both sides. Be thoughtful. Think things through. Because, you know, once you if you cut your hair, you can't glue it back together. If you're going to sever the ties or cut it out, you really need to make sure that's what you want. Sometimes the answer is still yes.
Yeah.
Right? Important.
Absolutely.
But the thinking, the intellect.
And we were talking about how most Athames, you'll notice, are double-edged. And that's usually known as symbolizing, because magic cuts both ways. That's a big one that I've learned in my studies. I like that idea that magic cuts both ways. There's that balance. How about Latera or Lysander, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to, but if you do this, here's your chance. We've got time. Oh, Kiki.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Well, if you got this card in a reading today and it was just this card representing you right now, what do you think this would mean in a reading for you?
I don't know.
For me, it's focus your energy.
Focus. Fuck us.
Focus.
Fuck us, people. Fuck us.
I would say that it's kind of a call to action, you know.
Oh yeah, I would think that too.
It's time to manifest your shit. You know what it's all about. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Get her done.
I get that.
Get her done. Yeah.
Get her done.
And I love that.
Emphasis on
Well, you know, it's that Idaho coming out. Sorry.
Get her done. For me, this means it's okay to be direct.
Mhm.
I love that card.
It's direct for me. Just be direct, you know, because
Okay.
Let's cut through the bullshit.
yeah, cut through the bullshit and be direct for me. I have a tendency to try to you know, sometimes, oh well, I don't want to.
Maybe it's that. Maybe it's me.
Yeah, but sometimes, and I know I can do this because I've done it before. I can be very direct. I can still be nice. You can being direct doesn't mean you got to be a jerk,
No.
but be direct. Be direct. And you might offend someone, but I think that if for me, I'd rather be direct with someone than hold my tongue all the time
Right.
and carry that whatever it is.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, well, awesome.
Being direct is self-care.
Yes.
It,
Yes,
it
it is.
absolutely is. And it being direct can be also saying no,
Mhm.
setting boundaries. No is a very powerful word.
Mhm.
I think a lot of us witches think that, you know, we need to be all love and light and healing. No,
No, you don't.
no, you don't.
If you're stepping on me, I'm gonna tell you.
Sometimes you gotta say no, and it's hard sometimes for some of us to do that, to be direct and set those boundaries. But it is self-care, and it's self-preservation. So I'm going to go ahead and share the image in the chat, and as usual, if you are not able to download it, please put your email address in the chat, and I will email it to you. This was nice. It was nice seeing y'all.
Yeah.
I love the conversation. I learned a lot today.
I'm glad you do. We go off topic quite a bit, but it's fun. We try to have fun. So can you see that in the chat?
Yes.
So go ahead and try to, you know, do the things and the stuff. And then I will do our
Closing.
yes, our closing. Our closing. If we have helped facilitate, I sound like I was about to sing it. If we helped facilitate a spiritual
That's why I
experience.
was trying to learn the circle cast earlier. I was like, what song can I put this to?
Please consider donating to Children of the Crossroads ATC to help fund events like this. Your gifts of any amount are greatly appreciated, and donations may be tax deductible. As COTC ATC is a 501c3 nonprofit. There is PayPal and Venmo. And what are we doing next week? Guess what we're doing next week? Can you guess?
Once.
Very good.
Very good, yes.
Ta-da! I win.
Yay!
We're going to talk about the wand,
More pointy things.
more pointy
Hey,
things.
we like pointy things.
We like pointy things.
Yes.
They're fun. Sammy, you look so happy and pretty today. You really do. I can tell this move has been just so good for you. I'm so excited for you.
Dare we say a little afterglow?
Is there an afterglow? Because yesterday you would have said deep dickin'. But
Did you get a
you're
deep
not gonna
dick
say that? Oh my God, we're recording. So anyway, sometimes I forget. I'm so sorry. Not a bunch of people see this, just on the Facebook
It's
group.
just on YouTube, you know. It's all good.
YouTube. I don't have a lot of followers on that account is set up just for this. So the majority of people who see it is usually the people that have already attended or know about it. So I'll
It's a
go
very
in.
small circle.
I'll go ahead and stop the recording though. I'm going to stop it before I say more to embarrass my dear friends here. Good Lord.